Good morning. So nice to be back with you. I'm Rev.Karen, for those of you who we haven't yet met, and I'm delighted to be here on this beautiful Sunday morning. Thank you for joining us at home and here in the sanctuary. Excuse me. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. We've heard those words from Popeye the Sailor Man in our youth, in our childhood. Yet long before Popeye, eons before Popeye, God gave those words, I am that I am, to Moses. And we hear in Exodus chapter 3, and now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way that the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now I am sending you to Pharaoh, to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign that to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this very mountain. And Moses said to God, suppose I go and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I say? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. I am that I am. This I am is meaningful in expressing the nature of the divine, that which can't be limited by our human thoughts or our human words. I am who I am. I become who I become. I am that I am. I will be all that I will be. I create whatever I create. I am the existing one, the one. For another understanding of I am, I've turned to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary written by our Unity co-founder, Charles Fillmore. And he says, I am is God's name in human language. It is Jehovah. It is the indwelling divine. The true spiritual human is made in the image and likeness of God. For me, that I am says that there are no words to adequately describe and to articulate the nature. There is no vocabulary in this human realm that expresses that all knowledge, that all presence of the divine, God, universal wisdom, love, whatever name you use for that presence and power that moves through all things. I am is the best we can come to describe that. And when I sit on my back porch and I begin to feel that essence of all creation, when I allow myself to expand into that creation, I know that however far my mind carries me, I can never begin to touch the edges of God. And yet at the same time, I feel that intimate understanding, that intimate nature of God. I feel that presence within and around me. I feel it in the vibration of the air, in all the movement of the universe. It takes my breath away when I sit in that presence and that power and take it all in. And each of you have that same intimate understanding. Each of ours is unique according to our feelings. This is the intimate and the transcendent nature of God. So take that in for yourself. Allow that omniscience, that omnipotence, and that omnipresence of spirit to fill you, to become you. Allow yourself to move in that energy and allow yourself to be moved by that energy. Allow yourself to be pressed into life by that divine presence each and every day. Allow the breath of God to breathe you into life each moment. Allow that unending presence that is unconditional love to pour through you and out of you each moment. Allow yourself to be carried away. Allow it to take your breath away by its power and its presence and its beauty. And returning to the words of Charles Fillmore, I read, I am is the metaphysical name for spiritual self that is distinguished from our human self. One is governed by spirit, by the divine. We feel that vibration in us and as us. And the other is guided by our personal self, our human will, or for some of us, our willfulness. You know what I mean. We know clearly when we're in the presence of the divine. We know when we have allowed that presence of God to express us. And we know when we have allowed our human egoic self, our own will, our own willfulness to be what carries us. We know the difference. We feel that difference. Christ, Jehovah, is the scriptural name for spiritual I am. We allow our Christ essence to shine through or not. The I am is eternal. It has no beginning and it has no end. In true spiritual human, we know that we are made in that image and likeness of God. We are told that in Genesis. We are made and endowed with that image and likeness. The I am has its origin in heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within each of us. That's where our origin rests. It rests in the realm of God ideas. It moves in us as divine thoughts of compassion and kindness towards all. It's the center around which all of our humanness is formed and moves. It's narrow in concept, this personal I am. We need to let out our personal I am. We need to let it out and lift it or move it into the consciousness of the great I am, the divine I am. So we can move our thoughts, we can move our perceptions, we can move our consciousness from our willful human consciousness. We can move it to that spiritual consciousness. And we are endowed with free will, and we are given dominion over our thoughts. When creation was happening, we were given dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and all of those represent the movement of our thoughts. We have dominion over it all. We as humans often identify ourselves, or we always identify ourselves with that which we attach our I am to. Whatever we think in our mind, whatever our thoughts that we carry consistently, we bring into manifestation. Our individual consciousness is like the eddy. All of the ocean exists. All the components, all the elements of the ocean exist in that eddy. And that eddy moves and shares with the ocean freely, all of those elements. So we too carry within us the nature of God. Not bits and pieces, but God in totality is made manifest as us. The I am pours into us. We can claim that as ours or not. We can continue to live small, live piecemeal, or we can claim that divine nature of us, that nature in which we are created, the I am of us. All of God is in us. We have the opportunity to express all of God or just some of God. It's our individual consciousness. We have the freedom to choose. We are given that ability at creation. We have the power to make or break without limits. So I am can be used adversely. And we use it adversely when we begin to seek pleasure out of the human life, when we seek our happiness through the sense world. And we all have stories, we all have heard stories of how this human life doesn't give us our pleasure. It may be momentary, it may be fleeting happiness, but that sustained, joyful, happy living only comes when we live from that great I am within us. That's the sustaining joy of life. That's the joy that transcends the woes of the world, the suffering, that which appears to be lack. So in unity, this is how we describe sin: as missing the mark, as falling short of living from that true divine identity. That's what we call sin. We borrow that archery term of missing the mark. Living without our connection with God, turning our back on that divine, because that divine is always there. So in the New Testament, we have this God made manifest as Jesus. God poured into life as the perfect human, Jesus. And Jesus said, I am, often. He said it numerous times. Jesus said, I am the bread of life in John 6:35. So this bread of life represents the substance of life. It's what sustains and nourishes us. Who had breakfast this morning? And who have? Yes. Hands go up. Yes. It is the nurturing nourishment that sustains our physical body, that bread of life. And when we experience spiritual communion, we say, yes, I receive that bread of life. I receive that sustenance of life, and from that substance of life, we co-create with the divine. We bring our world into existence from that unending substance of life. The bread of life is the word of divine truth that gives vitality to our body, to our mind, and to our spirit. And Jesus said, I am the light of the world. It says that in John 8, verse 12. And Jesus is the expression of that divine truth, that which lights life, that which lights our way. Jesus was a light in the world. His story lives thousands of years to inspire and guide us in how to live. And that light represents wisdom. We often say, oh, I had that light bulb moment, right? That's wisdom showing up for us in our discernment. The idea that comes through wisdom. And our inner light is that Spirit of God shining first within us and then out into the world. And Jesus reminds us in Matthew 5:14 that we too are the light of the world. He says it very clearly. You are the light of the world. And no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket. No, we put it on the lamppost, just as this Christ candle sits here this morning for everyone to see. So is our light to shine for the world to see. So let your light shine. And Jesus said, I am the door in John 10:19. And this door represents the opening to that one source. So we call that God in the Christian faith. It's called Allah. It's called many things by many faiths, but there is one source just as there is one sun, by whatever name our language for that sun. There is one source. And this door that Jesus speaks of is the opening to that source. It's the door that we open to receive that spiritual illumination, the guidance for our life, the wisdom, the strength to carry on and continue forward, the faith, the imagination. In walking through that door, we have access to all of those 12 powers that unity speaks of, that Charles Fillmore taught. All of the powers of life. When we walk through that door and say, yes, here I am. Jesus said, I am the good shepherd in John 10. Now, sheep are very docile, very harmless creatures. They represent the nature of innocence, the natural life. And sheep need protection. They need guidance to stay on the path, the true way to follow. They will follow one another off the end of a cliff. They need guidance to stay on the right path. So this pure, guileless aspect of ourself, the sheep of us, is guided by that presence of God, that example of Jesus. And what a wonderful example of goodness and greatness and love and compassion Jesus is for us, still this day. Still. And Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. And as we move through these weeks of Lent to Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday, that experience that we prepare ourselves. We prepare ourselves for the resurrection, for what is ready to rise as us anew. We can pass it by, or we can step into the spirit of Easter and rise as the divine wishes to express as us. Just as Jesus overcame the physical demise, we too can allow our spirit to rise. And resurrection isn't something that happens only on Easter morning. Resurrection happens each day. Resurrection happens each moment, each hour that we say no to the inhibition of our humanness. When we say we will move from spirit, when we allow that presence to make itself known to us and say, yes, we will follow that. That's resurrection. Every time we shift and move from human consciousness to divine consciousness, every time we move from anger to love, every time we move from judgment to acceptance and allowing, we resurrect our thinking. Resurrection from that indwelling life, that eternal connection of God. And life flows through us with every realization of God moving as us. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus showed us very clearly the way of love, the way towards compassion, the way towards welcoming all into our midst. Here in Unity, we pride ourselves on all are welcome in our community, regardless of what your faith practices have been. All are welcome. No one is left out. The truth that Jesus taught us profound ways of living, the truth of love, the encompassing nature of compassion, and the life lived with love and kindness, is an open life, is a free life. It's lived with harmony for all. It is a joyous life. And that doesn't mean we turn our back on what's happening in our world. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus stepped into what was happening in the world at his time. So we too step into that. But we step into it from a consciousness of divinity, from a consciousness of seeing what good can come and being participants in that good, in stirring the good to be revealed. And Jesus said, I am the vine in John 15. The I am, our divine Christ consciousness is within each of us. And Jesus is that vine, that connection. That vine is the life that shoots forth blossoms, that bears forth fruit. But it is the vine that is the sustenance for all of the branches and for all the beauty of the fruit that comes forth. So we allow Jesus to be the vine in our life, to be the teacher, the way shower, the example of how we can be. So we too, all of us here in the sanctuary and you who are at home, we use I am. And when we use the words I am, we are invoking the formative and the creative power of our word. Whatever we identify ourselves with, we make manifest. I am tired. Yeah, we've all said that. And when we say, I am tired, we feel tired. Or do we allow ourselves to be invigorated, living a spiritual life? We might say, I am overwhelmed. Or do we borrow the words of Charles Fillmore, who at the age of 92 said, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do all that ought to be done by me today. Ooh, can you feel the power of those words? The hairs on my arm are tingling. Can you feel the difference in, I am tired, I am overwhelmed, or I sizzle with zeal? What if on that morning we wake up and we might not have slept well? We might feel a little achy. What if we don't give in to that human feeling? What if we stay instead, I fairly sizzle with zeal and spring forth with a mighty faith, and then go out and do all that is ours to do on any day? Now, that doesn't say that we ignore those physical symptoms of illness that we have, those physical attributes that show up. We tend to them, but those are not our divine absolute truth. The zeal and enthusiasm is our divine ultimate truth. Yes, we live in this human world, but our source, our truth, is in spirit. When I read the revealing word, I read, by the use of I am, we link ourselves, we form a conscious union with the divine, with spirit. And when we move ourselves towards that spiritual I am, we live in the realm of life, love, wisdom, peace, harmony, joy, strength. We live in the realm of divine truth, the kingdom of heaven, that we're told over and over again, the kingdom of heaven is within each and every one of us. Now, we may be drawn again and again into the ways of the world. We can't help, whether we turn on the television or radio or not, the news of the world makes its way to us. We can't ignore what's moving in our world, and we can't deny those human feelings, but we can affirm a greater truth for ourselves. We can affirm our great true I am. And we are compelled to remember that the greater I am has its existence in the realm of spirit, beyond this human realm, in the realm of spiritual ideas, not in the realm of human gossip, negativity. We have that. We are compelled to live mindfully. And by that I mean to be aware of the thoughts that are tumbling around in our mind. To exercise our dominion that we are given at creation, to take charge of our thinking, to change our thoughts. And it's possible to change our thoughts in an instant. When that thought of negativity or lack or limitation comes, we can say, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing information with me. Now you may go. We can have a conversation with our thoughts and just let them go. And these are the thoughts which we contribute to the world, to the consciousness of the collective. Whatever we're thinking and feeling and pouring out into the world, we're contributing to that greater consciousness of the world. So be certain that what's in you is what you really want to contribute. So if you're feeling anger, is that really what you want to contribute to the world? Or do you want to learn through that anger and then contribute something different, something better than our anger, perhaps love and compassion, and not with limitation, love and compassion towards all. Those who sit on the opposite side of the political aisle as yourself, those who have differing opinions about religion, about faith, about spirituality, about how the world moves or should move. Kindness and compassion for all. So what do you claim as your I am today? What's going to follow your I am? Call it out. Shout it out. I am. Love. I am. Generous. Oh, love it. What else are you today?
The light.
The light.
The light.
The light. We are all of those things. Choose your I am. Claim it. Be it. And if it feels right for you, wherever you may be, here in the sanctuary, at our home, speak these words with zeal and enthusiasm after me. I am peace. I am harmony. I am capable. I am divine. I am loved. I am love. I am. To close with the words of Charles Fillmore, who says, hitch your I am to the star of your Christ, and infinite joy will follow you, like day follows the night. Namaste. So let's pause and hold a time of meditation and allow the chime to carry you into contemplation and meditation. Relaxing body, mind, and spirit, and easing into the peacefulness of this moment. Together we breathe. With ease, we breathe. We hear the words, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am God. I am still. Be still and know I am God. I am God of land and sky, of birds that fly and fish that swim, of animals that walk and creep upon the earth. I am God of desert and oceans, mountains and valleys. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know that I am God. In joy, in laughter, in tears and sadness, in pain or suffering, in celebration and smiles. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know that I am God. I am God of Adam and Eve. I am God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am God that brought into life Christ Jesus and the Christ of you. Be still and know that I am God. As we gently return to this sacred moment, this holy time, we bring the awareness of our I am to carry through this day, through every day of living. Namaste.